Okay, we'll wait. We'll let that one go. I have Bill on the line now. Bill, you're on the phone.
Hi, thanks for taking my
Bill.
call.
Yeah.
Hi. You talked about regional diversity in your opening comments, but yet one of the members of your government called Northern Ontario a no man's land. It's pretty clear that Toronto's running the province, and it doesn't work when one region is so dominant in the decision-making process. Do you think it's time we have the great debate in this province of whether Toronto should be a province unto itself?
I didn't set this one up, but I got to agree with Bill because that's what I always thought.
Well, yeah,
Thanks for taking my question.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, I'll listen.
So I feel pretty strongly about One Ontario bill, both bills.
Yeah, right.
I spend a lot of time outside of the Toronto region. I think that it would be a real mistake for us to go down this path, particularly when I'm in northwestern Ontario. I hear this, and I'm in Kenora often.
Right.
I think that it's an important part of the province. Forestry and mining have been literally some of the pillars of the economy in this province for years, and it's our responsibility to make sure that they stay healthy. And so I understand that sometimes there's a sense, because the population is so dense in the Greater Toronto area, it can feel that resources are going there. But I think the other thing that we have to recognize is that those resources, the wealth that's generated in the Greater Toronto area, is spread across the province. So the billions of dollars that go into infrastructure all over Ontario, some of the transportation investments in Owen Sound and in Meaford, that money you were talking about in terms of paving the shoulders in your area, that is money that's generated from the tax base across Ontario. So we really do work together. I think that it's important for us to recognize, for example, when we have an infrastructure plan, that infrastructure plan takes into account southwestern Ontario, eastern Ontario, northern Ontario. The roads and bridges that we're investing in are all over Ontario, and that money is the pooled resources from every part of the province. So I would be really, really loath to think that or to suggest that it would be a good idea for us to set up some separate governance. I think
I guess if there was a chance when everything, and I know you're so busy and government is busy trying to keep ahead of itself, as Bill said, maybe a discussion on it, and the proof could be in that discussion, as you just mentioned, how the money's diversified all over Ontario. That might be a good discussion at sometime.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it might be. You're right.
Because there's a lot of dissension within the rest of Ontario towards Toronto. There's no doubt about it.
For sure, I get that, and quite frankly, Bill, when I sit at the table with all my colleague premiers,
right.
Ontario's the biggest province, so there's some resentment about Ontario.
Oh, for sure, yes.
Across the country.
Yeah.
And I get that. But the fact is, Ontario puts in $5.7 billion more dollars into Confederation, into the national well-being than we get back. So we're a net contributor to the national well-being. So that resentment or that sense that there's too much focus on Ontario is kind of what what I hear when I travel in Ontario, and I understand how it can feel like that, but I want to be able to make sure that in the same way that we've invested nearly $35 million in highway infrastructure projects in Owen Sound, that we can keep doing that because we've got a decent tax base in order to be able to make those investments.
And I understand that. It's hard sometimes, as you say, and maybe somewhere along the line we can have a good discussion on it. Would be good. I've